You ever have one of those mornings where you walk out expecting peace and quiet and end up smack in the middle of a showdown that makes you wonder if you've slipped into the Twilight Zone? Yeah, that was me, coffee mug in hand, feet barely out the back door, when I saw not one, not two, but three strange men on my property, hauling in lumber and paint cans like they were on some kind of fixer-upper TV show. My barn door was wide open, muddy boot prints everywhere, and my tools had been moved around, like I just hosted a hardware store sleepover and nobody told me. And there, right at the edge of my driveway, was Karen, the HOA president herself, clipboard raised, barking orders like she was directing a Hollywood blockbuster. First thing out of her mouth, and I'll never forget it, was, "Make sure you repaint the inside white. It's an eyesore." My stomach did a full somersault. I marched over and tried to keep my voice steady, but it probably came out a little more "Are you out of your mind?" than "Good morning." I said, "Excuse me, what are you doing on my property?" She hit me with that trademark smirk, the one she saved for moments when she thinks she's winning. "Just cleaning things up for the community. The board decided your barn doesn't match our visual standards." I felt my face get hot. "Karen, I've told you 100 times, my property starts where yours ends. I'm not under your HOA. She actually rolled her eyes and crossed her arms. "That's not how it works here." Well, let me tell you, that was it. I stormed over and locked my gate, right in front of her and the workers. The metal clanged, so loud it felt like I was slamming the door on every ounce of patience I had left. The workers froze. Karen's eyes went wide. "You can't do that," she yelled. "Oh, I just did," I said, stared her down. She fumbled for her phone. "You'll regret this. I'm calling the cops." And that, folks, is how I ended up standing in my yard, facing three strangers in my barn, an HOA president pacing by the road, and the sound of sirens getting closer every second. But before you think I just woke up one day and picked a fight with the entire Maplewood Estates HOA, let me back up a sec. This all started about 6 months ago when I moved out here looking for a little slice of peace, a small ranch just outside the HOA boundaries, old farmhouse, and a big red barn out back. The kind of place you buy because you're tired of city neighbors peering over your fence. My land was technically county property, but it happened to share the same main road as the HOA folks. I loved that barn from the second I saw it. My dream was to turn it into a workshop, a place to finally build and fix things with no one breathing down my neck. First few weeks were a dream. Early mornings, barn doors open, sun pouring in while I tinkered with my old truck, my dog Max keeping me company. Didn't bother a soul. Then one afternoon, knock at the door. I opened it, and well, there she was. Karen, blonde bob, pearls, clipboard, and a smile so tight it made my jaw hurt just looking at it. "Hi, I'm the HOA president. Just wanted to welcome you to our community." I tried to be polite. "Thanks, but actually I'm not part of the HOA." Her smile twitched. "Oh, everyone on this street is part of it. It's easier that way." "No, ma'am, my property is in your charter." I checked. She stared at me like I was speaking a foreign language. "Well, we'll see about that." Not 3 days later, I come home and find an official notice taped to my mailbox. "Your barn violates neighborhood standards. Must be painted white. Roof replaced." I laughed out loud. The barn's on my land. Still, I called the number on the letter. Karen picked up, of course. "Karen, I think there's been a mistake. My place isn't under your HOA." She sighed, so dramatic. "Look, your property affects ours. People can see it from the road. We have to maintain property values. You understand?" That's when I realized she wasn't confused. She was just entitled. The notices kept coming. "Mow your lawn twice a week. No farm animals allowed." I mean, it was just Max and 3 chickens. Hardly a livestock operation. Then, one Saturday, I wake up to find workers trimming my hedges and repainting my mailbox. HOA shirts and all. I yelled, "Who told you to do that?" They pointed to Karen, sipping her coffee like she was watching a show. "Get off my land," I shouted. She just smiled. "You'll thank me later." I was furious, but I kept telling myself, maybe she just doesn't understand boundaries. Spoiler, she did. Oh, she did. Next weekend, hammering wakes me up. I run outside, and her workers are inside my barn, hammering beams, painting, moving my stuff. Karen's back, bossing everyone around. Fix that door hinge. It squeaks. That's when I snapped. I locked the barn from the inside, then chained the gate shut, so tight you'd need bolt cutters to get in. Karen lost it. You can't lock this. We have work to finish. Then you'd better finish it somewhere else, I said, snapping the padlock closed. She threatened cops. Good. I'll wait, I replied. The sirens in the distance made it all feel unreal. Before the cops got there, though, something even stranger happened. My neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, waved me over from her porch. She's lived here forever, always keeps to herself. She said, "You handled that well yesterday. Most folks would have lost their cool." I grinned. Try my best. I just want to be left alone. She nodded. Karen thrives on control. Don't let her pull you into her storm. That stuck with me. When the officers finally arrived, well, Karen ran at them, waving her phone like a flag. My neighbor's trespassing. He refuses to comply with our standards. I held up my hands. Officer, my property's not under the HOA. They came into my barn without permission. I locked the gate to keep them out. The taller cop, kind face, asked, "Did you verify the property lines?" Karen snapped, "Lines, lines, lines. That's irrelevant. The visual appeal is what matters." I almost laughed. The officer shook his head. "Ma'am, unless you could show documentation, you don't have authority here." Karen was speechless. He turned to me. "Sir, you're within your rights." I finally felt like the universe was on my side. Karen, though, she's not one to quit. Next morning, another letter under the gate. Same threats, same drama. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because what else can you do when someone is that relentless? I reinforced the gate, added a camera, and tried to get back to normal life. Then one day, I heard the engine, low, deep, a construction truck at the gate. It had the HOA logo and Karen in the passenger seat, grinning like the cat who ate the canary. How did they get past my lock? I ran out. Turns out someone left it ajar. The workers started to unload. Max growled, and I grabbed my crowbar, just in case. "If you want in, you have to get through me," I said. Karen smirked. "You can't stop progress." "Yes, I can." I shot back, standing my ground. But just as the tension peaked, the truck's engine sputtered and died, smoke pouring out. The workers started panicking. Karen yelled at them, but the whole show ground to a halt. I actually felt a little sorry for her, almost. She'd gone to all this trouble, but her plans fizzled out with a broken engine and a locked gate. The next escalation was more calculated. That night, headlights flashed outside. Not the police, smaller lights, darting along the fence line. Karen and a group of men moving stealthily, trying to get in under the cover of darkness. Max and I stayed alert. They tried climbing the fence. I banged the crowbar so hard on the gate it echoed across the yard. "You're trespassing," I yelled. The men hesitated. Karen hissed orders, but they froze when I shouted that the authorities were on their way. Sometimes standing your ground, literally, makes all the difference. But Karen wasn't done. I heard the heavy rumble again, this time a larger, more menacing contraption rolling up, some kind of machine with a mechanical arm, like she'd brought out the big guns. The thing reached for the gate, scraping metal, testing if I'd back down. I stood my ground, Max barking, every muscle in my body on high alert. I called the cops again. By the time the officers arrived, Karen was shrieking at her men to break through. But when the police showed up, the game changed. The machine backed off. The officers escorted everyone off the property. It was over for now. The barn stood, untouched, moonlight shining on every scratch and den I'd fought to protect. I sat on the porch, Max at my feet, coffee in hand, and I realized this wasn't just about a barn or a gate or some paint color. It was about not letting fear or intimidation dictate my life. It was about drawing a line, sometimes with a lock, sometimes with a crowbar, sometimes just with your own steady resolve. And as the sun rose, painting the sky with colors I hadn't noticed in weeks, I whispered to Max, "We did it, buddy. This is our home, our rules, our sanctuary. And you know what? That's what matters. Not trucks, not rules, not even Karen's endless letters. It's about holding on to your peace and your boundaries." So let me ask you, where are you watching this from? Have you ever had to stand your ground against someone who just wouldn't quit? Drop your story or your thoughts down in the comments, and let's talk about what real justice and boundaries mean. And hey, if you've ever had a Karen in your life, you know exactly how good it feels to finally stand your ground.